The alarms echoed through the command center of the ESS Thunderbolt. Red lights flashed, casting an eerie glow across the faces of the crew. Commander Jin Kim's calm expression hardened as he moved swiftly to the main console. "Report," he ordered. Lieutenant Has fingers danced across the screens. "Krell warships, sir. They've appeared near Mars colony without warning. 3 vessels, heavily armed." Jin clenched his jaw. The Krell were known across the galaxy as opportunistic raiders, but they rarely ventured this deep into systems with Galactic Council protection. Something had changed. "Show me," Jin said. The main screen flickered to life, displaying 3 jagged ships with predatory designs hovering near the red planet. Their weapons systems glowed with energy, ready to fire. Officer Hoon at Communications raised his hand. "Sir, incoming distress signal from Mars colony. The Krell are demanding immediate surrender and resource rights to the entire planet." Jin's mind raced. Earth's hidden fleet wasn't scheduled for revelation for another 6 months. The final weapon systems on the newer vessels weren't fully tested. Yet Mars colony housed over 10,000 civilians. "Contact Admiral Yun," Jin ordered. "We need authorization for defensive action." Lieutenant Ha looked up from her console. "Sir, communications with Luna Command are being jammed. The Krell must have deployed interference satellites." Jin paced the bridge, weighing his options. The fleet's existence was humanity's greatest secret, a trump card held in reserve for when the Veloxians and their allies finally decided Earth was ripe for exploitation. Revealing even a single ship now would change everything. Meanwhile, 12 hours earlier in the gleaming towers of the Galactic Embassy on Earth, Ambassador Sun had endured another condescending meeting with the Veloxian representative. The tall, blue-skinned alien looked down at her both literally and figuratively. "Surely you understand, Ambassador," the Veloxian said, his translator giving his words a musical quality that contrasted with their harsh meaning. "Earth consumes much and contributes little. The Council requires increased titanium shipments from your asteroid mining operations. Without compliance, we must consider sanctions." Sun bowed her head slightly, the perfect picture of submission. "The Council's wisdom guides us all. But I must note that our current production already strains our capabilities." The Veloxian waved a 4-fingered hand dismissively. "Your capabilities are limited by your technological immaturity. Perhaps if humans showed more aptitude, you would be offered access to more advanced mining techniques." Sun kept her face neutral despite her anger. For 50 years, Earth had been treated as the galaxy's newest pet project. A quaint, primitive world permitted to join galactic society only because of its strategic position and mineral wealth. The Veloxians and their allies had carefully limited human access to technology, offering scraps of knowledge in exchange for increasing resource demands. What the Veloxians didn't know was that humans had been quietly reverse engineering every piece of alien tech they could get their hands on. More importantly, human scientists had developed completely new approaches the aliens had never considered. Back on the Thunderbolt, Jin made his decision. "Prepare jump drives. We're moving to Mars Defense Position Alpha, but maintaining stealth protocols." The bridge crew snapped into action. The massive warship, hidden within the hollowed asteroid, powered up its engines. Around them, the fake mining facility exterior maintained its innocent broadcast signals. "Sir," Officer Hoon called out, "we're receiving emergency authorization from Luna Base. Admiral Yun has activated Limited Protocol 7. Jin nodded grimly. Protocol 7 allowed for minimal fleet exposure, just enough to protect Mars without revealing their full capabilities. "Contact the nearest vessels," Jin ordered. "I want the Stormcloud and the Daybreak to rendezvous with us at the Mars jump point. All other ships maintain positions." As the Thunderbolt prepared to depart, Jin thought back to his first day in the Hidden Fleet program. Like every officer, he'd been selected not just for military skill, but for psychological stability. The burden of knowing humanity's greatest secret while pretending to work for standard Earth defense forces took its toll. 3 of his academy classmates had washed out during the revelation phase, unable to handle the knowledge that humans had been building a secret armada for decades. The asteroid's outer doors opened, disguised as a mining shaft. The Thunderbolt slipped out, its stealth systems immediately engaging. To any watching eyes, it would appear as nothing more than a routine ore shipment departing. Lieutenant Hay approached Jin with a tablet. "Sir, the Proxima Centauri situation may have triggered this. Our intelligence suggests the Veloxian patrol that investigated the energy signature reported their findings despite accepting our explanation." Jin nodded. "The Krell must have intercepted the report. They're testing us." "Testing us for what, sir?" "To see if we're lying about our capabilities." Jin's eyes narrowed. "They're looking for the fleet we've worked so hard to hide." The Thunderbolt accelerated toward the Mars jump point, where space itself would fold to allow near-instantaneous travel. 2 other ships, previously disguised as asteroid research stations, converged on their position. Jin addressed the assembled officers on the bridge. "This is the moment we've trained for. We reveal only what we must. The Krell must be repelled, but they can't know our true strength." The 3 Earth ships, representing less than 2% of humanity's hidden power, prepared to make the jump to Mars, where they would give the galaxy its first glimpse of what humans were truly capable of. As the countdown to jump began, Jin thought about Ambassador Sun and the countless diplomatic meetings where she and others had endured alien condescension to maintain the secret. Today that would begin to change. Not the full revelation they had planned, but the first crack in the facade. The stars blurred as the ships jumped, carrying with them the future of human-alien relations. The galaxy was about to get its first surprise from the species it had underestimated for far too long. The red planet Mars glowed against the black of space as 30 Krell warships appeared from jump points. Their ships looked like metal spiders, with sharp edges and weapon ports that glowed purple with charged energy. The Krell, a species known for their aggression and greed, had chosen Mars as their target because they believed Earth had no real defenses. Mars Colony was home to 50,000 humans. Its clear domes and red dust streets housed miners, scientists, and families who had made the planet their home. Now they huddled in emergency shelters as the alien ships moved closer. The Krell commander, his scaled face filling the screens across Mars Colony, made his demands clear. "Humans, your resources are now ours. Surrender Mars Colony, or we will destroy it. You have 1 hour to decide." On Luna Base, Earth's moon, Admiral Yun Park stood in the hidden command center deep below the official Earth Defense Force headquarters. Few knew this place existed. Even fewer knew what Yun controlled from here. Her silver-streaked hair was pulled back tightly, her uniform neat despite being awake for 20 hours straight. "How many civilians on Mars?" she asked. Colonel Min looked up from his console. 52,317, Admiral." Yun nodded once. For 20 years, she had helped build Earth's secret. For 20 years, she had trained for this moment while hoping it would never come. The Krell had forced her hand. "Send authentication code Alpha 97. My voice print. Admiral Yun Park, commanding Luna Base. Initiate protocol emergence. Full fleet activation." Around her, the command staff froze momentarily. They all knew what this meant. Colonel Min was the first to recover, his fingers flying over the secure communication panel. "Authentication code sent, Admiral." Fleet commanders responding. Throughout the solar system, hidden bases received the code. On Titan, Saturn's largest moon, Commander Song led her crew from their underground base to 12 warships concealed beneath the methane lakes. In the rings of Saturn, ships disguised as ice chunks powered up their engines. Behind Jupiter's radiation belts, where no alien sensors could function properly, 30 more vessels disengaged their stealth systems. The largest group remained in the asteroid belt. Commander Jin Kim's voice echoed through the comms as the Thunderbolt and 50 other ships revealed themselves. "This is Commander Kim. Protocol emergence confirmed. All ships, form battle groups, and proceed to Mars' defense coordinates. On Earth itself, 6 massive ships rose from the ocean floors where they had hidden for years. In orbit, defense platforms that had masqueraded as weather satellites transformed, revealing weapons that no alien race had seen before. Admiral Eon opened a direct channel to Mars colony. "This is Admiral Park. Help is coming. The Krell will not take Mars today." On Mars, Colony Governor Ju watched with wide eyes as his sensor operator shouted in surprise. "Governor, I'm detecting ships. Hundreds of ships. They're ours." The main screen showed something impossible. Human vessels appearing everywhere, their designs unlike anything seen in the Galactic Council's fleets. They were smooth and dark, with no external engines visible. They moved with a grace that belied their massive size. The Krell commander was in the middle of repeating his threats when his own sensor officer interrupted. The alien's yellow eyes widened as he looked off-screen. When he turned back to the camera, his confidence had vanished. "What trickery is this?" he hissed. "Where did these ships come from?" In the diplomatic center on Earth, Dr. Taeyun had called an emergency session of the Galactic Council representatives. The aliens from 12 different species sat in shocked silence as screens showed the emerging human fleet. Tai, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment, addressed them all. "Honored representatives, for too long Earth has been treated as a minor power in galactic affairs. We have been pressured, exploited, and dismissed. Today, circumstances force us to reveal our true capabilities." The Veloxian ambassador rose from his seat, his blue skin pale with shock. "This is impossible. Your species lacks the technology for such vessels." Tai smiled tightly. "What we lacked was not technology, but trust in how you would react to our advancement. History has proven our caution wise." At Mars, the Krell found themselves surrounded. What had begun as a simple raid was now a potential disaster. Their 30 ships were dwarfed by the 200 human vessels that had appeared from nowhere. Commander Jin Kim's ship, the Thunderbolt, took position directly in front of the Krell formation. His communications officer opened a channel to the alien fleet. "This is Commander Jin Kim of the Earth Fleet ship Thunderbolt. You have violated Earth territory and threatened our citizens. Power down your weapons and prepare to be escorted from our system." The Krell commander snarled, his pride wounded. "We do not retreat. The Krell Dominion does not fear human deception." 3 Krell ships broke formation, weapons firing at the Thunderbolt. What happened next stunned even the Galactic Council representatives watching from Earth. The energy beams from the Krell ships seemed to bend around the human vessel, causing no damage. Then, without firing a single shot in return, the Thunderbolt emitted a pulse of blue energy that disabled all 3 attacking ships instantly. Back on Luna Base, Admiral Eun watched the sensor feeds with grim satisfaction. The defensive capabilities had worked perfectly. Now it was time for the next phase. "Send the diplomatic package to all Galactic Council members," she ordered, "and prepare boarding teams for the disabled Krell vessels." As the remaining Krell ships began to retreat, the implications rippled across the galaxy. Humanity, long dismissed as a minor power, had just revealed itself as a major player. The balance of power had shifted in an instant. On a luxury yacht near Neptune, Ambassador Sun watched the news feeds with a small smile. 20 years of enduring alien condescension had finally ended. Now the real work would begin. The Veloxian ambassador stormed through his embassy chambers, blue skin flushed nearly purple with rage. Holovids played on every wall, each showing the same incredible footage: Earth's hidden fleet in action against the Krell forces at Mars. His aide, a younger Veloxian, stood nervously in the corner. 20 years, the ambassador shouted, slamming his 4-fingered hand on the desk. "We've had monitoring stations around their planet for 20 years. How did they build all this without us knowing?" The most troubling images showed 3 human vessels disabling a Krell battle cruiser without firing conventional weapons. Instead, a ripple of blue energy had simply shut down all Krell systems. The technology was unlike anything in the Galactic Council's database. "Sir," the aide said carefully, "the High Council is demanding answers. They believe you should have known." The ambassador laughed bitterly. "Of course they do." He paused, watching a segment where a human ship seemed to absorb a direct hit from Krell plasma cannons without damage. "Get me everything we have on human quantum research, and find out who's been selling them advanced materials." "That's just it, sir. Initial reports suggest they didn't buy these technologies. They developed them independently." The ambassador's eyes widened. This was worse than he thought. Across the galaxy, the news spread faster than light. On the trade hub world of New Singapore, aliens from a dozen species crowded around public screens, watching recordings of Earth's fleet. Merchants specializing in human goods suddenly found their products in high demand. Anything from Earth now carried a hint of mystery and power. One merchant, a six-limbed Santi, tripled the price of his Earth coffee beans and still sold out within an hour. "Humans make this drink every day," he explained to a curious buyer. "Perhaps it is the secret to their hidden strength." Meanwhile, at the diplomatic station orbiting Ta City, Representative Mai Li adjusted her formal uniform before entering the meeting chamber. The collective had requested this talk within hours of Earth's fleet revelation. As Earth's ambassador to this sector, May understood the importance of this moment. The chamber was designed for neutral negotiations, with a round table and identical chairs. The collective's representatives were already seated: a Liran with silvery skin, a fur-covered Nexus, and a crystalline Votri. All three represented species that had joined galactic society within the last century, just like humans. "Representative Lee," the Liran spoke first, "we appreciate your willingness to meet so quickly." Mai bowed slightly. "The circumstances demand quick action. I understand you have questions." "Not questions," the Votri's crystal body chimed as it spoke. "Proposals." The Nexus nodded, fur rippling. "For too long, our species have been treated as junior members of the galactic community. The older races, the Veloxians, the Jet Dominion, the Axteri combine. They control resources, dictate technology sharing, and enforce unfair trade agreements." Meg kept her expression neutral. "That has been the reality, yes. A reality that Earth has just changed," the Liran said, leaning forward. "Your hidden fleet represents the first serious challenge to the power structure in 500 years. The Votre's body flashed with inner light. "We propose an alliance, the collective with Earth. Together, we would form a counterbalance to the old powers." Mai had been prepared for this. Admiral Gunn had predicted exactly how the younger species would react to Earth's revelation. The collective has 7 member species now, correct? 9, as of last month, the Nexus corrected. And all have faced similar treatment to Earth. They all indicated agreement. May smiled. "Then perhaps it's time for a new arrangement in galactic affairs." Near the edge of human space, the ESS Vigilant maintained position behind a small moon. Captain Duparc watched the main view screen with interest as 3 Veloxian scout ships moved slowly through the nearby asteroid field. The scouts were using advanced sensors, attempting to locate more of Earth's hidden fleet. "They're focusing on mineral composition scans now," reported Tactical Officer Yu. "They're specifically looking for the hull material they observed at Mars." Du nodded, stroking his chin. "And our hull reads as standard titanium-aluminum alloy to their sensors." "Yes, Captain. The outer layer masks what's beneath. They have no way to detect the quantum mesh core." Du smiled at this. Earth's breakthrough hadn't been in building bigger weapons, but in developing materials that existed partially in quantum states. The ship's hulls could shift properties in microseconds, adapting to any attack. "They're moving closer," Yu warned. "Their scan intensity has increased." "Let them come," Du replied calmly. "This ship is officially an asteroid mining support vessel. We have every right to be here." The largest Veloxian ship approached to within visual range. Du could see its elegant, organic design. typical of the ancient species who prided themselves on technological superiority. "Sir," they're hailing us. On screen, the face of a Veloxian commander appeared. His expression showed the familiar condescension humans had endured for decades. "Human vessel, you are operating in restricted space. Identify your purpose immediately." Du kept his expression pleasant. "Veloxian vessel, this is the Earth ship Vigilant. We're conducting routine security patrols following the Krell incursion. This space is recognized as human territory under Galactic Council Charter 447b. The Veloxians' eye ridges raised. "You were not assigned patrol duties by the Council Defense Committee." "We no longer require assignment," Du replied evenly. "Earth provides its own security now." The unspoken challenge hung in the space between them. For decades, Earth had been forced to request permission for even basic defensive measures. Those days were over. After a tense moment, the Veloxian commander responded. "We are conducting authorized scans of this region. Your cooperation is expected." "Scan all you wish," Du said with a slight smile. "We have nothing to hide anymore." After the communication ended, Officer Yu looked concerned. "Sir, if they analyze enough of our ships, they might eventually understand our technology." Du shook his head. "Our scientists estimate it would take them 50 years to grasp the basic principles. The Veloxians have been so certain of their superiority that they stopped looking for truly new approaches centuries ago." He stood and walked to the viewport, watching the alien ships continue their fruitless scans. "Their understanding of physics is advanced but linear. Our quantum approach is like teaching poetry to someone who only knows how to count." Across the galaxy, the balance of power had begun to shift. Earth, once dismissed as a backwater world of limited potential, had become the center of a brewing storm. And as the old powers scrambled to understand what had happened, humanity prepared for whatever would come next. The massive Krell armada appeared at the edge of Saturn's rings, their ships like dark thorns against the planet's golden glow. 100 warships, the pride of the Krell Dominion, had come to crush the upstart humans who had dared to reveal their hidden strength. The Krell Supreme Commander, his scaled face filling the screens of every ship in his fleet, had promised his leaders an easy victory. "These humans have hidden toys, nothing more," he had declared. "We will break them, and the galaxy will remember its proper order." From the command center deep within Luna Base, Admiral Yun Park watched the enemy fleet with calm eyes. Around her, tactical displays showed the positions of Earth's ships. 80 vessels now in formation near Saturn, with more in reserve throughout the system. "They brought their entire central fleet," noted Colonel Min, studying the sensor readings. "This isn't just about Mars anymore. They want to make an example of us." Yun nodded. "The Krell can't allow our emergence to stand. If we prove that a young species can challenge the old powers, others will follow." She opened a secure channel to all fleet commanders. Their faces appeared on screens around her. Commander Jin on the Thunderbolt, Captain Du on the Vigilant, Commander Song from the Titan Squadron. These officers had trained for years in secret, preparing for this moment. "The Krell believe this battle will restore the galaxy's balance," Yun told them, her voice steady and confident. "They expect us to fight conventionally at first. We will oblige them, but only until they commit fully. Once their formation extends, we deploy our real capabilities. Remember your training. Today we show the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated." The human fleet moved to meet the Krell invaders in the space near Saturn's largest moon. From a distance, the human ships appeared to use standard propulsion and defensive systems, the kind of technology the galactic community believed humans possessed. The Krell commander laughed when he saw the human formation. "They line up like training targets. Begin the attack pattern. Show no mercy." The Krell ships surged forward, their plasma cannons lighting up space with green fire. The human fleet took hits, their outer hulls showing damage. Several smaller vessels appeared to lose power and drift away from the battle. "Admiral," Tactical Officer Q reported, "The Krell are fully committed. Their reserve ships have joined the main attack." On the screens, Un could see the Krell formation extending, spreading out to surround the apparently weakened human fleet. The alien commander, seeing victory within reach, had deployed all his forces. Un's eyes narrowed. "Now, send the signal." Throughout the human fleet, officers received the coded command. On the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Commander Jin turned to his crew. "Disengage conventional systems. Activate quantum cores." What happened next would change warfare in the galaxy forever. The seemingly damaged human ships suddenly transformed. The outer hull damage healed itself as the quantum state materials reconfigured. Blue energy fields surrounded each vessel, not the familiar particle shields used by other species, but something new that bent light and space around the ships. "What trickery is this?" the Krell commander shouted as his sensor officers reported the impossible readings. "Deploy gravity lances," ordered Admiral Ian. "Target their command ships first." The human vessel's forward sections opened, revealing weapons unlike anything seen in the galaxy. These weren't the plasma cannons or laser arrays that other species used. The gravity lances fired invisible beams that distorted space itself, creating localized gravity wells that crushed Krell ships from the inside out. 3 Krell battlecruisers imploded instantly, their hulls collapsing like paper bags squeezed by giant hands. The Krell formation broke as ships tried to flee the unseen force tearing through their fleet. On the Thunderbolt, Jin watched the effectiveness of the weapons humanity had developed in secret. The gravity lance technology had come from a simple observation. If gravity could be manipulated for propulsion, it could also be focused as a weapon. No conventional shield could stop it because it didn't operate in normal space. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "the Krell are changing tactics. 30 ships have broken off and are heading toward Earth at maximum speed." Jin nodded grimly. Just as Admiral Yun predicted, they think our homeworld is vulnerable. At Luna Base, Ian received the update from Q. "Admiral, the Krell attack force has bypassed our fleet. They're on a direct course for Earth. Estimated arrival in 17 minutes. Alert Earth Defense Command." Ian ordered calmly. "Activate the orbital platforms." For decades, Earth had appeared to rely on a small network of defensive satellites, barely enough to stop smugglers or pirates. The Galactic Council had restricted Earth from building more substantial defenses, claiming such restrictions were for regional stability. In reality, Earth had built something far more powerful in secret. As the Krell ships approached the blue planet, sensors on the moon detected their advance. Deep beneath the lunar surface, massive hangar doors opened. From craters that alien observers had dismissed as natural features, defensive platforms rose into space, 20 of them, each the size of a small city. The Krell commander stared in disbelief as the massive structures emerged from Earth's moon. "Impossible. Our surveys showed nothing." The lunar defense platforms formed a protective line between Earth and the approaching Krell ships. Each platform contained gravity lance arrays, quantum shield generators, and energy weapons that could target multiple ships simultaneously. "This is Earth Defense Command to all Krell vessels," came the broadcast from the largest platform. "You have entered restricted space and threaten our homeworld. This is your only warning. Retreat or be destroyed." The Krell commander, his pride wounded but his survival instinct strong, ordered a maximum attack. "Fire all weapons." The humans bluff. No species could hide such technology. The Krell ships fired everything they had: plasma torpedoes, energy beams, kinetic projectiles. The barrage approached Earth's defenses like a storm of deadly light. Then the lunar platforms activated their combined quantum shield. A blue-white energy field expanded between them, forming a protective dome that encompassed the entire Earth-Moon system. The Krell weapons hit this barrier and simply ceased to exist, their energy absorbed and redirected. "Return fire," ordered the platform commander. 20 gravity lances fired simultaneously. In space around Earth, Krell ships crumpled and imploded. Those that tried to flee found their engines suddenly inoperative as targeted gravity fields disabled their systems. In the Luna Base Command Center, Admiral Yun watched the battle with mixed emotions. The victory was clear. Earth's defenses were proving even more effective than simulations had predicted. But she took no joy in the destruction of the Krell ships. Each contained hundreds of lives, soldiers following orders from leaders too proud to accept a changing galaxy. "Send the surrender option again," she instructed. "Tell the remaining Krell ships they can leave our system unharmed if they power down weapons." As the message went out, Moon turned to look at the image of Earth on her main screen. The blue planet that had seemed so vulnerable to the galaxy, now revealed as one of its most formidable powers. The secret was fully out now. There would be no going back to the old balance. The future of humanity among the stars had forever changed. The great hall on Luna Station gleamed with light reflecting off polished stone. Representatives from 8 species sat at the round table, each with their own section marked by their homeworld symbol. Admiral Jin Kim stood at the center, his dress uniform crisp and formal. 6 months had passed since the battle that changed humanity's place in the galaxy. The Solar Concordat's first official meeting was about to begin. Jin looked at the faces around him. The silver-skinned Lyran delegation, the furry Nexus representatives, the crystalline Votri, and delegates from 4 other species that had long been treated as lesser powers by the galactic elite. Now they sat as equals with Earth, forming what was quickly becoming the galaxy's newest power block. "Friends, allies," Jin began, his voice carrying easily in the quiet room. "Today marks a new chapter in our shared history. The Solar Concordat is more than just a defense agreement. It is a promise that no developing world will again face the exploitation we all endured." A Nexus representative, her fur patterned with formal markings, raised a paw. "Admiral Jin, many still question why Earth hid its power for so long. Some see it as deception." Jin nodded, having expected this question. "Humanity didn't hide its strength out of fear. We did it because of strategy." He touched a control, and a hologram appeared showing historical footage of Earth's first contact with the Veloxian Empire 50 years earlier. "When we joined the galactic community, we were immediately categorized as primitive. The Veloxians and their allies limited our access to technology, restricted our defensive capabilities, and extracted our resources at unfair prices." Jin paused, letting the words sink in. "But we watched. We learned. We saw how the galaxy treated the weak." The hologram changed to show footage of Nexus mining colonies, where workers toiled under harsh conditions while Veloxian overseers watched. "What we all experienced separately," Jin continued, "we now recognize as a pattern. The older powers maintain their position by ensuring rising species never truly rise." The Lyran ambassador, her silver skin catching the light, spoke next. "So Earth developed in secret. How did you manage this without detection for decades?" Jin smiled slightly. "We gave them what they expected to see. The Veloxians and Krell were so convinced of our inferiority that they never looked deeper. Their scanning technology searched for known energy signatures and familiar technological patterns. We developed along completely different lines." The holograms now showed Earth's quantum technology labs, where scientists had pioneered the gravity manipulation that powered their ships and weapons. "Our greatest advantage wasn't technology," Jin explained. "It was that no one believed we were capable of innovation." Across the room, understanding dawned on the faces of species who had experienced similar treatment. The Votri representative's crystalline form sparkled as he spoke. "You turned their prejudice into a weapon." Jin nodded. "And now we offer our hand in partnership, not domination. The Solar Concordat will defend its members, promote fair trade, and share technological development. We don't seek to replace one galactic bully with another." As Jin continued outlining the Concordat's principles, his words were being broadcast across countless worlds. The galaxy was listening to humanity's vision for the future. 3 days later and many light years away, Admiral Yun Park stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Harmony as it approached Krell Prime, the former heart of the Krell Dominion. The planet's surface showed the scars of recent civil war. After their defeat at Earth, the Krell military leadership had fallen, replaced by a coalition government of previously suppressed factions. Captain Han stood beside her, watching the planet grow larger in the view screen. They've accepted our meeting request, but security reports high tension on the surface. The new government is still unstable. Yun nodded. That's exactly why this mission is critical. The Krell must see that we didn't come to conquer or humiliate them. Some would say they deserve humiliation after centuries of aggression, Han remarked. Yun turned to him, her expression serious. And that thinking is exact. The ancient High Counselor, her blue skin faded to pale azure with age, raised a hand for silence. Perhaps we are witnessing something new in galactic politics. She activated a display showing cultural and historical transmissions from Earth that were now spreading across information networks. Human philosophy emphasizes concepts we have long dismissed as naive. Cooperation, mutual advancement, the sharing of resources. She looked around the table. What if their generosity is not a trick, but their actual strategy? An uneasy silence fell across the chamber as the implications sank in. The Veloxians had maintained power through force and technological superiority for millennia. They had no defense against a species that wielded compassion as effectively as weapons. Back on the Harmony, Admiral Yun met with the new Krell leadership in their rebuilt council chamber. The scaled aliens watched her with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. Why does Earth help those who attacked it? Asked the new Krell Prime Minister, his voice rough, but his words direct. Yun's answer was equally direct. Because we understand desperation. Your former leaders attacked us because they feared change. They feared losing control.